Eagle Mountain Apostolic Resource Center. To find additional episodes of this program, as well as other content, visit eaglemountain.tv.
I'm going on record right now, I've never had a harebrained idea.
He's had lots of ideas that have hair on them.
Did you just say I've had lots of ideas with hair on them?
Yes. Okay.
Oh my goodness. What?
The devil?
I found him.
Why am I not surprised that he's in here?
He's over here in this bucket. There he is. Mr. Sin! Not bothering us anymore.
How are you doing there, Foxy?
Such a beef wit.
Do you know who you're talking to? I'm Mr. Sin. You can't talk to me like that. You don't have to be rude.
I said beef wit.
Beef wit, that's even worse. No, I'm not a fan of that, but I am a fan of finding out what you're doing after this show. Maybe we could go grab some drinks or something. What do you say?
No thanks.
All right, everyone, welcome to Together We Build. My name is Sir Chris, or you can call me Chris Behnke for short. I'm here with Bucklington.
You know, if you say your name fast enough, it sounds like Chris Spanky.
I'm aware.
Spanky.
I did go to high school. I heard them all.
Did you ever want to change your last name?
Chris Spanky. You know, there were other last names that definitely got a lot more made fun of. Let's be real. I'm also here with Prudence O'Hare. No one has ever made fun of her name because it's perfect in every way.
Well, I don't know about that.
You know, the thing I love about your name, O'Hare, is it's spelled hair.
Yeah.
Big hair. It's a big hair for a big haired woman.
Yep. It's not as big as I would have preferred it today, but here we are.
Your hair isn't as big as you would have preferred it?
Yeah. My hair has to be big enough so then when I walk through the doorway, it touches the edges.
That is definitely too big.
Nah.
Prudence does have a thing in the bathroom that says the bigger the hair, the better the night. Mm-hmm. What do you feel about that? Is that real? That's our question for today.
I don't know. I'm not really a person that goes out too much, so.
You don't go out?
Not a lot.
You do too.
Yeah. No, I don't.
We went out for lunch.
I'm talking about like fancy dress dates and stuff like that.
We're fixing that. I'm taking you on a fancy dress date in the next couple of weeks. You ready?
And then when they ask us, what are you celebrating?
I'm going to say, I'm celebrating my wife's enormous hair. Check it out. Boom. Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get into the trivia. I was going to have a question. I was going to ask you a question, but I'm going to ask you on the next one because instead we talked about your hair. So that's plenty fine.
Okay.
Do you think Buckley would look good with big hair?
Well, he's had bigger hair in the past.
Do you think I would look good with big hair?
Probably.
Really?
Yeah. We could get a wig. Find out. Okay. What's the first trivia question?
Okay. So trivia, we're doing animal trivia, and I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling really good.
Okay. What is it?
Okay, so we already did the toucans passing fruit back and forth. We did the strongest sense of smell. We did the otters having a pebble their whole life. We did which sea creature can be broken into 5 pieces.
I wonder where the first engagement ring idea came from. Maybe it came from the otters. Because if the otters are giving each other a pebble, or at least one of them, the male gives the female a pebble that she keeps all of her life as a token of his love. Maybe human beings took the idea from them. You suppose?
While engagement rings signify a bond and a promise of eternal love today, back thousands of years ago, they were worn more as contractual purposes. Historians believe that the first engagement rings originated from ancient Roman culture around 200 BC, where they symbolized obedience and or a legal contract.
Huh.
Let's go.
Okay. What's the
Get
first
it. You
question?
couldn't hear the horn, but it was amazing. Okay. So that's where engagement rings come from. It had nothing to do with otters. So the first question for you today is, and I believe in you, how do you know what is the main way? How do you know how cats show they trust you? Come on, Prudence.
I trust you.
Yeah, how do cats show that they trust someone?
Didn't we
Hit
have
it.
this one last time?
Hit it. Well, you hopefully not,
failed.
because you definitely don't remember.
Okay. They
Come on, don't get it wrong.
rub up against you.
No, headbutting, obviously.
No, see, I knew it. We did have this one
Well, then why didn't you get it right?
because I didn't. It was dumb.
Because you just didn't do it. We just blew
And in
it.
my mind, I feel like it's the same thing.
Right.
When I envision
it's
a
exactly
cat
the same.
coming up to me, they always start with their head,
We
push
must
it
have
against
done this
you.
because the next one is what
and then
animal can
swivel
eat
the
when
rest
its
of
head
their
is
body.
upside down. Do you remember that one?
The what?
What
yeah.
animal? Yeah, what is it? You apparently weren't paying attention to this trivia. What if there was $1 million at stake? Flamingos can only eat when their head's upside down.
I just wasn't giving enough time.
What are the only two places in the world where lions live in the wild? We did all these.
Yeah, we did all of these.
But what is the answer?
It was Africa
Yeah. Come on. 50% of the way there. Let's get it.
and American zoos.
That's the third place. And India.
India.
Okay, we did this too, but I just feel like we need to review these. What aquatic animal is the most poisonous in the world?
Oh, this was something I don't
Come on,
think I got.
you've had all these.
It was a blow, one of those blow up fishes.
Bloviating. It was a bloviating
It was
answer.
one of those blow up.
Puffer fish. I'll give you
Yes.
that one. What is a group of hedgehogs called? A group of hedgehogs. I believe this is a new one.
A hedge.
No, either a pickle or an array.
Oh, brother.
Okay, last question.
Okay.
Which animal evades predators by running in a zigzag pattern?
Oh, this would be the roadrunner.
The answer is the heart beast. Do you know what a heart beast is?
No, but I'm envisioning a large heart with hair on it.
I
And fangs.
think that's actually what it is. It's a large heart with hair on it. You're right.
It also has fangs because it's a beast.
And it has like, it's a large heart with hair with fangs.
Is it a deer type creature?
I don't know what a heartbeat is. Heart beast. It's spelled. I mean, beast isn't even spelled right, so I don't even know. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. It's HARTEBEEST. Beast.
Is this related to the wildebeest?
It's probably is.
I just like saying that
It's probably a
word.
dwarfish cousin-ish kind of thingy. What do you think about that? I think we should get to the topic. This particular episode of Animal Trivia has really just not been very good, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a bit stagnant.
It's a bit stagnant. Okay. All right, let's get into this. So, we're talking about this concept, which we have talked about before here and there some, but it's super important to get back into it because for a lot of reasons. But one is just the state of the world right now is it's how you say a little bit crazy. And I think when things get bizarre, Satan has a certain approach that he uses all the time, which is to push people into this place that I call drifting, which is essentially when people are anytime essentially when people are not living according to the way God designed them. So we're going to be talking about living in the 3%, a call to stop drifting. And really I feel why we call it the 3%. It's because I believe that 97% of all people are what I call drifting. Drifting, the way I define it, is they're living outside of being in a line with what God made them for. So let's say he made someone to be an incredible auto mechanic and they're not doing that, then they're living outside of their design. They're just floating through life without purpose, not doing what God made them for, out of alignment with his plan, if you will. What do you first of all, before we really get into this, what do you think about that?
Well, when I think of the word drifting, I think of our daughter, 14-year-old daughter, when I pulled out one time this last summer. And
In the car? Yeah.
Going like 20.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, Mom, I totally think you could have drifted that corner.
Everything she's learned about drifting is from Mario Kart.
Yeah, from Mario Kart. But I don't think that's the same thing as what we're talking about.
It is a little bit different.
Also, when I think of drifting, I think of like one of those lazy river things.
Yeah.
Where you just like laying on your little
Yeah,
tube,
that's a little bit more accurate.
and you just kind of going wherever the water takes you. It's just like you're sitting in that lazy.
Yeah, you got no purpose.
It's a lazy river of drifting.
Lazy river.
Drifting in the lazy river.
Yeah, this is all bad. It's actually a great analogy. So, yeah, I mean, I fully believe that everybody was designed on purpose by God for a specific reason, and they're alive today at this moment because God chose them to be born right now and design them for a specific purpose. So
we're not talking about like taking rests and breaks, because sometimes you need that.
Oh yeah, that's actually super important. And there's kind of the other side of this coin where people can kind of turn getting things done into a god, or working into a god. And we're not talking about that. It's the opposite of that. So that's actually critically important too. Like, if you aren't caring for yourself mentally, physically, and every other way, then you aren't going to be in a position to, you will for sure not be in a position to actually carry out the purpose that God's created you for either. So that's actually just as important. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about this concept of kind of floating through life. So like,
well, it's definitely the easiest thing, and that's why we all do it. Because I feel like I gotta stop using the word "like" so much.
If you do, you need to do it with like a Valley Girl accent.
Did you just say "like"? You did. You just said "like."
Like
no,
sometimes
okay,
I
come
say
on.
like.
Let's make a pact to beep whenever somebody says "like."
Well, that's a lot of extra editing, babe.
No, not that. We'll just do it manually.
We'll do it
with our voices. Our culture here in the West is extremely packed with.
You mean just like condensed?
Well, it's just
our time is condensed. You're saying
we're always needing to feel like we have to be doing rather than just being in a lot of cases. So I think we're just busy doing a lot of even meaningless tasks in a sense, or we're working to just survive. And we're so stocked up with busy that we literally like, oh, beep. You're supposed to beep me when I say like. We're literally beep living lives that when we get done with our day, alls we can do is just like oh, there it is again. You're missing it, Chris. I said like.
I don't think you did.
I'm catching myself and you're not catching me.
I don't think you even said it. You're catching an imaginary like.
I didn't. I said it. Okay, so back to the subject at hand.
Like, okay.
We're so overwhelmed and packed with things.
Yeah.
Including
good things.
Including emotional stuff that we invent and make up, or that we
I mean, you do, but
or that we accept from the devils as something that we want to chew on, that we have no capacity left to really traverse in the important and the purpose of why we're here. We don't have any energy left. Bottom line.
We've spent it.
We've spent it.
Yes. Spinning wheels.
So I think that in this case, it's... Oh, I almost said it. I almost said like.
I was like, you didn't say it.
I almost did.
Buckley's
I
the
think
like
in this
police.
case, we end up burning ourselves out in a lot of areas. A lot of us just burn ourselves down to the wick, to the nubbins.
To the nubbins.
And then we don't want to do anything but sit in the lazy river and drift.
Yeah, I think we live in this culture where we kind of are flashed all of these things that kind of create this situation like
Beep.
I did that on purpose.
No, you didn't.
They create this situation that makes it seem like it's cool.
Oh, beep.
Well, that was an appropriate one. That
It
wasn't
makes it seem like it's cool.
Yeah, that was an appropriate use of the
You
word
got to
like.
keep going. Don't argue with me.
I don't like this like thing. We should also beep on ums too.
We'll do that next time.
Well, now you really got me fumbled here. We've created this situation where where people are floating along and they're living for this set of expectations in our culture. For example, the 2-week vacation. Like I make
beep.
I float along through life, hating my job, hating my work. I accidentally got there. It wasn't really part of the plan. It's not really in alignment with who I am, but I need to do it. And I just can't wait for the weekend. And I'm going to go, spend all my time on the weekend relaxing and kind of getting back to where I can just make it to get through another week again.
So we just spent all of our energy on something that we didn't actually want to do in the first place.
I do that for 50
and that in and of
weeks.
itself is draining.
I do that for 50 weeks so that I can survive long enough to do my 2-week long vacation. And 2 week is like TOOWEEK as well as TWOWEEK. And it's 2 week, 2 weeks long, and it's also 2 week. Like, not good. Like, we don't like our coffee week. We don't like our vacations week either. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and also when we are not doing something fulfilling to us and to how we were designed, it's excessively draining and it's depressing.
Yeah.
And we feel purpose beep. You're not catching my likes.
I feel like it's a disruption, to be honest.
Well,
This whole like thing is a disruption.
no, it's a training program.
You're going to have everyone watching beeping this off, too. We're going to have a whole world's going to be beeping now. You didn't even know what you were saying. What were you saying?
Well, you keep going on about it.
Beep, 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 beep. Okay, no more beeping. So now I'm very distracted with the beeping thing. Back to drifting. I feel like Satan tries to do a lot of distracting, which maybe this beeping exercise is a distraction, I don't know, from the main topic, which is Satan wants to get us off our assignment. He wants to get our eye. Okay, what did they say when you were a little kid and you were playing baseball? What'd they say when you come up to the plate? Keep your eye on the
Ball.
Keep your eye on the ball. I was like, is she going to get this?
I didn't ever play it.
Yeah, but you know the expression, keep your eye on the ball, right? Right? Am I right?
Yep.
The reality is that Satan wants to keep our eye off the ball. And that's where the drifting comes in. So if you fully knew why God made you on the earth and you just fully 100% were after that, you were after why he made you. That's what Satan doesn't want, because he doesn't want you to be able to fulfill the very reason God made you. So he wants us to be distracted with this floating through life. And then one day you wake up and you say, oh my goodness, I am 90 years old. And I don't remember how I even got here. Have you ever been driving somewhere and then you pull in and you park the car and then you kind of come to an awareness that you don't remember what happened the last 35 minutes?
Yeah,
Admit it.
I have had a couple of cases like that.
That's what he wants you to do with your life.
It's actually really freaky.
It is freaky, and he wants you to have an awareness at the end of your life that you missed what you were supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And you just floated through. I'll get to that. I'll get to that. I'll get to that. I'll get to that. And it is so important to not do that. What do you think about that? Let's look at John 10:10 for a second. Everybody knows this. The thief comes to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that you may have life and have it to the full or more abundantly. I think that's a great example of Satan wants to come in and steal the effectiveness, steal the joy, steal the purpose away from your life and get you off track so that you miss what you were made for.
So let's just go ahead and jump to recognizing the drift.
Yeah, let's do it.
How do we know if we're just sitting in lazy river?
If you look around and you're in a swimsuit sitting in an inner tube floating with no control, you're probably in the river of laziness.
Okay. But more even practically.
Well, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, that's what I'm asking you.
I think that if you ask yourself, what is my life for? What am I here for? What am I doing? What am I doing that matters? How is God growing me so that I can do more of what matters? If you can't answer what that is, it's very likely that you're just drifting. Mm-hmm. Now, that's going to be pretty offensive to some people. You might even be tempted to like turn this off. Rah, 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 rah. Listen, I believe if you look at 100 average people, 97 of them are like this. So you're in good company with a lot of other amazing people that have a lot of talent. So it's not really about that. It's about stepping back for a moment and purposefully looking at your life and beginning to ask the Lord to help you understand what you're supposed to be doing with it. Why are you here? Why does it matter? And not letting life use you.
So is kind of an inward question where you have to ask yourself this and analyze this if you so dare. But it's really an outward mindset living type of lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because you are understanding that you aren't here to just live for yourself. Mm-hmm. You're here to share your life with other people.
Yeah, that's good.
You're here to give it away. So how are we doing that?
I think that's a really great way to look at it. Another thing that kind of popped into my head as you were saying that is, so Prudence, you know a lot about horses, right?
Some,
lot. You know a lot. So you have seen people where the horse is riding the rider, so to speak, and some where the rider's in control. The horse is not riding. What am I saying? You've seen where the horse is in control, and you've seen where the rider's in control. Mm-hmm. Same horse, different riders, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah.
So if the horse is like your life, you see a lot of people where the life is in control. The person's not control their life. The life is in control of the person. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yes. So practically speaking, what does that look like? It looks like you work a job and that's all you can do. You just kind of do a mediocre job and it stresses you out and you've got no energy left at the end of the day to do anything else.
Yeah.
Maybe you know that there's things that you want to do and accomplish, but it's just like, it's like a mosquito. It just gets in there, a giant mosquito, and sucks the life right out of you.
Yeah, and I want to make sure and clarify something. It's not the particular job. So I'm not saying that, let's say, librarian just popped into my head. Let's say I'm not saying librarians. Those guys are all drifting because their job doesn't matter.
Right, because
and governors of states, their life, they're not drifting because their life does matter. That's actually not how it works at all. We're all called to fill different roles. We have to have librarians and governors and presidents in the United States and people that, you know, love making your coffee just so. Like, actually, we all have to work together doing our different part. So it's not the job. It's that, are you doing the thing or is the thing controlling you? What were you going to say?
I don't know what I was going to say.
Man, it was probably really good too. Basically, you can have two people. Let's just say there's two baristas, two coffee baristas. One is drifting, one is not. Because one was made by God to be a barista. They're doing barista kingdom. They're blessing people. They're doing it with excellence, and they're bringing kingdom into the coffee shop. And the other person is just surviving, and they're drifting through life, living for the weekend, in which they do nothing of importance. So don't misunderstand when I say doing things like doing things that are important. It doesn't mean there's no lofty title. That thing is the thing in which you're supposed to be doing. Where's the Bible verse? Ephesians 2:10, for we are created in God's handiwork. Stop. Ephesians 2:10 is, for we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. Jesus prepared in advance, God prepared in advance for us to do this good works. My good works and your good works and Buckley's good works are all different good works. That's the whole prepared beforehand. So God is literally telling us in this verse, in advance, he created us on purpose for a certain thing. And those are the good works. And if we're outside of that, then we're outside of our purpose, and that is where we're drifting through life.
So how do you figure out what your purpose is then?
Well, that's a topic for a different podcast. We've talked about that before. We have a lot of resources about that specifically at the God Designed University and all the different things that we have. But the main thing is to begin to step back and go, is my life running me, or am I running my life? Mm-hmm. And if you're always feeling a sense of anxiety that you're not really sure if you should be doing this or that, then that's a good indicator. If you feel like you're never going anywhere and what you're doing doesn't matter, that's potentially a good indicator too. Now, remember, these are also the same ways that Satan will attack you. So you have to really check with the Holy Spirit, because sometimes you're like, oh, none of this even matters anyway, but you're doing the most important thing out there. And the enemy wants you to feel like it doesn't matter so that you stop doing it. And he does that through a lot of ways, like comparing others. You see somebody on, TV or, YouTube, and they have a lot of impact, and you're like, oh man, what I'm doing doesn't even matter. Look what they're doing. No. We have to have all of our parts working. And your Bible says that some of us were created as eyes and noses and hands and feet. We're not all pinkies. If it was just a whole planet full of pinkies, we'd be in trouble.
Yes.
It would look like that Spy Kids movies with the thumb guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That is very weird and unuseful. So you also have down here, signs of drifting is over reliance on entertainment for satisfaction. So if we're constantly feeling like we can't be left alone with ourselves, and are unable to sit and be still and think about who we are.
Yeah, escapism.
The direction that we're going, what we're feeling, and looking at, where we've been, where we're going.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times people, their behavior is such that they're trying to escape from the reality that what they're doing doesn't matter, isn't how God made them.
Yeah.
So they escape with all the usual things, whether it's drugs, sex, television, cell phone, doom. What do they call it? What do the kids call it? Doom scrolling.
Video games. Just having to be with people constantly. Like a lot of the addictions that are.
And the thing is, like,
it could be anything, but it just don't leave me alone with myself.
And here's the thing. It can be things that are actually good things. Like maybe you're so wrapped up with your family, you can't ever not be with your family. That's also it, by the way. Yeah. It doesn't mean your family's bad. So you can escape with, illicit drugs, which most people would say is not good. Or you can also escape with things that are actually good, like things that are good. Like church can be an escape. Like it's all about understanding the reality of what's happening and pressing into the reason behind what God put you on this earth for, and learning how to serve and worship Him.
Yeah. Neglecting spiritual growth and disciplines
Yeah.
is a sign of drifting.
Yeah.
Because you can't, I think when we're sitting in a lazy river of emotional states,
That's such a good analogy.
you can't look too deep into spiritual stuff in the sense of where it requires any ownership from you.
Mm-hmm.
Because then that would require you to do something about it.
Right.
So it's fine to just go ahead,
right?
and...
Accountability.
Yeah. No, accountability doesn't work with drifting.
Right. Here's another indicator. Here's another really powerful indicator. So Jim Rohn, do you know who Jim Rohn is?
He's an author of some sort.
Author, speaker
Yeah.
guy. I think he died a while ago, but he's brilliant. But he said this thing. It's not from the Bible, but it should be. No, I'm just kidding. He said this thing. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So another indicator is when you feel a need to disconnect yourself from people in their life because they're challenging you to become a better person.
Yeah.
That's a very, very good indicator that you probably should not do that, and that you're trying to head into the easy path of drifting. Mm-hmm. By the way, most people drift. I believe it's 97 out of 100 people are doing this. We need to shift that. What if we could just make it 20% of people are not doing that? That would be incredible. But the reason that's the way for most people is it is the easiest way. Mm-hmm. Let's say we're on the lazy river. It's much easier to just float on your little tube than to try to swim up it. There's people in your way. The current is against you. Everything's working against you. But if God said go north and the lazy river is floating you south, you're going to have to do the hard work of swimming upstream.
Yeah. Yep. That's definitely, I think that's one of the key words right there. Hard work. Hard work.
I think we live today. I don't want to be negative on
I think actually doing physical hard work and labor is so much easier than emotional hard work.
Boy, that's very true.
So much easier. That's where our battlefield is up here.
Yes, what does the scripture say? The battle is not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and spiritual forces of darkness.
It's the spirit side of things that we battle. And
it's harder to detect. It's harder to know. And it's more powerful of a fight. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to sound like I'm dogging on young people, because I think it's all of culture today. It's not just young people, but our culture today doesn't like accountability.
Do we have a no button?
I don't know. Owen's got some buttons programmed to the sound machine over here. I could try some of them, but they don't like accountability, and they don't like work. Mm-hmm. And so you say, hey, let's have a culture with a growth mindset where we're all learning how to grow and become better versions of ourselves, more in line with what God made us for. And let's hold each other accountable so we make sure we do it. Those are all the wrong things to say to our younger generation.
Yeah.
It's like, and our current generation.
I think it was kind of deteriorating in millennials too. Like it was.
Well, and our generation, like basically, let's just say the last 100 years to be really blunt. It's easy to poke fun at the younger people, the unsuspecting younger, Gen Zers. But the truth is that for the last 100 years, society has been on a rocket ship towards this. Mm-hmm. And basically accountability and hard work are hard. Duh. And that's one of the reasons why people don't like him. So when Satan presents this easy option of floating through life with no purpose, most people are going to go, yeah, that sounds pretty good. And then here's what's happening now that's so powerful. Because there's the other side of the pendulum where people work themselves to the bone, become workaholics, people take advantage of them, which is all bad too. But because that exists, it creates this little powerful excuse where you say, well, I have to be healthy. So I need self-care, which could be anything from, drinking way too much or watching too many, binge watching, episodes of Friends every hour. Like, these things are literally the opposite of productive. They're the opposite of helpful, and they're disconnecting you from the reality of what's really happening because it's hard work to deal it. Just like you said, Prudence, I think you should talk about this for a second because I think it's missing from culture a lot. The work of growing mentally and working through and repairing relationships and kind of growing, that's much more difficult than like hard work getting up really early in the morning and splitting wood all day.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. I mean, if you're a human being, I shouldn't have to explain this to you. You absolutely should understand what.
Let's just pretend like everyone
is.
Watching is a Buckley dog for a second. Explain it to us. Why is it hard? Why is it?
I think
it seems like it should be easy.
Because I think that what is happening in our minds is something that we can kind of keep concealed. It's easy to hide.
Yeah.
We don't have to be vulnerable because nobody actually knows what's going on in our heads.
Right.
And with the culture that we've developed now, if you don't like something, if you don't like someone, if you don't like something that's going on at your church, or
you gotta keep.
You don't like your wife,
one.
you don't like your husband anymore. Guess what? You can just go ahead and
get a new one.
There you go. And we're done. Let's go get a new one because that's fun to go shopping for a new one. It's all about the new. We don't value anything.
Well, we definitely
where it takes the emotional self-control, self-discipline to go and repair that thing. Because it's just like
it permeates society, right? You see it in appliances. We've all seen the refrigerator from 1943 that's been like repainted 4 times because it's so old, and you open it up and it's still cold. How do they make this thing work? Like, the guys that designed it aren't even alive anymore. Meanwhile, you go buy the new fancy pants LG that detects when your milk is spoiled and orders more from Amazon on your behalf, and that thing lasts 18 months and then breaks.
Right.
And then people expect that to happen.
Yeah. Well, as one country song by Diamond Rio says so eloquently, they just don't make hearts like they used to.
Oh my word, that's funny.
These days, a heart ain't worth a dime. So if you equate the heart to the soul part of us, we've cheapened that piece of us. Diamond Rio. Just the same as the appliances that are being built now. But it's a battle. It's a major battle because the only person that can control it is us. And if we can't have the fruit of the Spirit of self-control and self-discipline, then we are not going to do anything more than our little selfish attitude wants.
Yeah, I think what you're saying, Prudence, is so important as we're, kind of wrapping this up and thinking about what do we do about it. So what was it? In the late 90s, I think, is when Rick Warren published purpose-driven life book. And at one point, from when he released that till now, somewhere in there, that book was the number one self-help book in the world, even though it's a Christian book. And you have to ask yourself why. Like, was Rick Warren that great of an author? I don't know. I read the book. It was fine. I think the reason it was the number one wasn't because it was that great of a book. I'm not saying it was a bad book or anything about the book. I think that the reason is because people want to have a purpose-driven life. Mm-hmm. And the reason they want that is because deep down inside, they believe and understand they were meant for something greater because God made them that way. And Satan wants to cause them to take the easy path of drifting. Why is it the easy path? Because the other way is a risk. If you drift, you drift. But if you try to go to do the hard things and go the path that God's made, and then you fail at it, then you've failed.
Well, you also risk other things like rejection.
You risk rejection.
You risk loss of material possessions, mm-hmm. relationships.
Yes.
There's a lot of risk involved with fighting past the drifting stage of human life.
Yeah, 100%.
And we got to get past that.
We've got to get past that.
Got to get past that to accomplish anything, especially the bride of Christ needs to get past that.
So Prudence, I feel like as we're wrapping this up, if it's true that, and it is, by the way, your Bible says Jesus gave us this mission, and the mission was go into all the world, make disciples of nations. If we're going to do that, we all have to work together. If we're going to all work together, we need to all be doing our part. We can't all be, you know what you say that's super funny? You say we can't have too many cooks in the pot. What you mean to say is we can't have too many cooks in the kitchen. Cooks in the pot is like cannibalism, but I like the way you say it because it's hilarious. We can't have too many cooks in the pot, We can't have, because God didn't make everybody a cook. So we have to stop trying to compare ourselves with others, stop trying to be other people. We need to be who God made us to be and not let Satan whisper in our ear, you might as well just not even try because you're kind of a loser and don't even try. Why don't you just drift through life and just live for the weekend and your 2-week vacation and be settled and have a nice life? Why can't we just be happy with a nice life?
Just live a low risk life.
Why can't you just be happy with just, living? Because God didn't make you to be happy with just living. He made you on purpose for a purpose. And it is so important to begin to learn how to step into that.
Which is why so many of us, when we aren't living our lives purposefully driven, mm-hmm. we're depressed.
Yeah, 100%.
We're depressed 100%. All the time. We're needing something to fill the void.
Yeah.
Because it's not getting filled with the stuff that we're filling it with.
100%. Okay, so on that note, here's some resources for you guys. So we've developed this assessment called the Nexus Profile. You can find it on thehumannexus.com. We'll put a link in the show notes for that. And with that, there are also a bunch of workshops that we've done, and there's a new platform that is launched that is called the God Designed University. And so all these resources that we've developed over the last several years are created on with you in mind, really with people in mind that want to learn how God made them, what their purpose is, so that they can begin to thrive in the very life that God designed them for. So you can find all of that, there's a ton of resources there at website goddesignedcode.com, so you can check that out, and the Nexus. So these are amazing resources for you guys. Also, if you go over to eaglemountain.global, this show is produced by Eagle Mountain TV, which is part of Eagle Mountain Apostolic Resource Center in Bend, Oregon. There's a ton of resources for you there. One of the things that we didn't really talk about, but I just want to mention briefly, is the need to go through inner healing to be able to fully step into where God wants you to go. So there's a button over there that if you're if you want to learn about any of this for the Eagle Mountain Transformation Center, it is a super important resource that it's available for you there. There's also the Eagle Mountain TV button. You can see all the other episodes of Together We Build and the other awesome resources that we have there. So check all that stuff out. We would love for you guys to let us know what you think. Share this episode out with your friends and family. Like and subscribe and click the notification bell. That's what my kids are always telling me. Don't forget to say click the notification bell so you know exactly when the next episode of Together We Build is airing, so you don't miss a single one. Am I right, Prudence?
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
Buckley, you got anything?
Nope.
He's all done. He's ready for a nap, and it is time to end this episode. So thank you guys. We love it. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you for watching Together We Build with Chris and Prudence. To learn more about this and other amazing programs, visit eaglemountain.global. To learn more about Chris and Prudence and the ministries they serve, visit chrisandprudence.com.